So in this one, this is our last video about market structures. We're going to look at monopolistic competition. Now, the one big difference with monopolistic competition is that in the long run, they always earn normal profit. We're going to look at that why in just a few minutes. But first, let's draw the graphs. Now, they're going to look a lot like an artificial monopoly. In fact, they are indistinguishable. Whoa, what happened there? My hand slipped and we had a little curved line. So they look indistinguishable. Boy, that's still kind of rough, but that's okay. And so we're going to have a separated marginal revenue and demand. Demand equals the price. We're going to have an upward sloping marginal cost curve, and that's equal to the supply. So that's going to help us know where deadweight loss is, because optimal is the quantity where supply equals demand. And that's going to help us know where deadweight loss is. So now we just have to go, okay, this is in profit. So we actually need a ATC curve. So I'm going to just go down and then back up again. And the reason I put the ATC down here was because we have a profit maximizing, switch colors here, profit maximizing quantity at MR equals MC. So that's QE. And up here is the price, because that's from the demand curve. So that's PE. And so if it's in profit, that means the price is bigger than the ATC. So we have to go down to the ATC and over and shade the box, right? Shade the box. And we do have deadweight loss because there are some transactions not happening over to the optimal point. And so we have deadweight loss. So it's from that quantity over to the optimal point. And I kind of color that up just a little bit. That isn't supposed to be red. Okay, the next one is in a loss. So we're going to switch colors here, go back to blue. And this one's going to look very similar, except for this one, our price is going to be below. Price is below the ATC. And typically we don't really care about the shutdown rule with these, although it is true, there is a shutdown rule that if price is below AVC, they should shut. And that's actually true of all firms. It's just kind of, we only usually deal with it in perfect competition. So we've got a marginal cost, and that's still supply. And so that tells us the optimal is here. They're not going to produce that. Now the MR equals MC tells us the quantity they're going to produce, QE. And it goes up to the demand curve to tell us the price, PE. But we know from this here, price is going to be below the ATC. So we actually need an ATC up here at the quantity that we're producing at. And in fact, we'll go all the way up to here. And you can see that that ATC dot is bigger than or higher than the P dot at quantity equilibrium. So we have a loss. So we're going to shade this box, and this is our loss box. We still have deadweight loss, the transactions that should have happened that, whoops, made that way too big, that should have happened that did not, and it's this triangle here. Now I got carried away, so I'm going to kind of have to go in here and color that with some blue. But that triangle is the deadweight loss, not the great big one that goes up to ATC. That was silly. Okay, then the last one here is in an equilibrium. And we call it equilibrium because monopolistic competition will return to this point if you leave them be in the long run. And this one, right, the MR equals MC, they produce quantity and price. And then for this one, price in equilibrium is going to equal the ATC. They always break even. They earn normal profit. So we're going to have a ATC come down, hit that line, hit the minimum at the MC, and then come back up again. Now that's kind of ugly. I did my best here, but it's the best way to view it. And there's no profit, there's no loss because they're breaking even, but there is a deadweight loss, and it's in the same spot that it always was, right? Now, for regulators' perspective, we're usually pretty much okay with having deadweight loss in these types of markets. And that's because we value kind of the cost of having variety. We'd say, well, you know, retail stores and restaurants, yeah, they're going to underproduce and overprice, but but the lost transactions are the cost of having a variety of choices. Now, why does a monopolistic competition firm, though, earn normal profit in the long run? Why do they look like this number 3 picture? And it's because firms can enter and exit if other firms are earning profit or loss. So just like perfect competition. So it has the elements of an artificial monopoly, is how it kind of looks and the way it behaves, but firms can enter and exit. So it's like perfect competition. Now, the last 2 questions here are actually something I meant to include in a different part of this review packet, but I stuck it in here because I thought, well, we need to have this. Productive efficiency is producing at the quantity where minimum ATC is. So let's take a look here. Are we producing at the minimum ATC, right? Let's see. Well, minimum ATC is here. So no, we are not. So we are not productively efficient. So we can say down in this box, no, because we are not productive efficient. And then allocative efficient means producing at the quantity where marginal cost equals price or where supply equals demand. And so again, it's the other way of saying socially optimal quantity. And so we are not productive efficient, nor are we allocative efficient. And by the way, I'll say here, if we have deadweight loss, we are not allocative efficient. And so this is something that you're going to get questions about, these 3 things, in all of the different market structures. So we could go back to the other market structures and see this being a phenomena in all of them. And I would encourage you to ask yourself, are they productive efficient? When are they productive efficient? That sort of thing. Just as a quick aspect of this, the productive efficiency is satisfied in a few of the cases, right? In perfect competition in the long run, it's always satisfied. And allocative efficiency, the trick to that is it's always satisfied for perfect competition. They don't really have deadweight loss. So even like when they're earning profits and losses. But monopolies are typically not productive or allocative efficient either. Okay, so hopefully this helps you. I'll see you next time.